The fall of Babylon and the shift in consciousness to a more spiritual focus will change the way we do business. The theme of righteous work and sacred activity is inherent in John's revelation. In Cayce's interpretation of the revelation, we are constantly reminded of the importance of application and activity. Spirituality is not a passive process, it is very active. Our activity, whether we call it work or a job or whatever, is essential to the transformational process. As Cayce often put it, don't just be good for something. This is in contrast to some spiritual traditions in which enlightenment is sought by withdrawing from the world. In Cayce's model, we are encouraged to work out our spirituality in the midst of life, where we live and work. In chapter 18, we are told that with the fall of Babylon, the merchants of the earth weep and mourn because no one will buy their merchandise. The old way of doing business, of catering to carnal desires for profit, is no longer acceptable. Have you ever noticed that the formula used by many for getting rich simply involves taking the 7 deadly sins and finding a way to package and market them to the masses? If you can present vice in a way that makes the person feel good about it, you will reap more profit. Just watch the TV commercials and movies that the entertainment and advertising industry throw at us. Sin is very big business. If our livelihood is dependent on work that is unholy, or if our work is associated with an unholy organization, then spiritual transformation can present a special challenge. Remember the mark of the beast, the identity that we assume as an agent of material consciousness. When we realize that we must bring our vocation into line with our spiritual ideals, that part of ourself is likely to cry out as the merchants of the earth in John's vision. For some, this is not so difficult at first, especially if we have accepted the call to follow our bliss. Just be aware that following your bliss can be an initiation. It can be very sweet in the mouth and bitter in the belly. I have counseled individuals who have struggled with vocational change as a conscious spiritual choice. It can be difficult, but worth the effort. I have struggled with this challenge myself. For 17 years, I owned and operated a construction business before going back to school and changing my vocation. I struggled with a change in consciousness from a lookout for number one mentality that is so highly regarded in the American free market system. Viewing every business transaction as a spiritual process is what I'm talking about here. Using a spiritual ideal for determining one's relationship with one's work and with associates is a challenge. In a broader sense, be prepared to make adjustments in how you view material production and consumption. If you purchase and consume the products and services that degrade the human condition, you are in that business. Trust me on this. The consumer is part of the business plan that makes the whole process work. If all of us begin to move in the direction of spiritual practice in terms of our purchase and consumption, there will be many merchants of the earth who weep and mourn the loss of revenues. That is their karma to be worked out. So as you proceed on the spiritual path, pay attention to the work that you do and how you spend your money. Be prepared to develop an ecological awareness that values the sacredness of the environment. Don't let the desire of money or the fear of its absence derail your spiritual transformation, even if the merchant within weeps and mourns.